you want people to do well, and you don't want people to have no health care. I mean, come on, unions can be good, but this is toxic. It's a very toxic situation.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Really excited about the UAW and the Teamsters trying to take it back. And not everybody is excited about that. Not everybody is as excited about that as we are. And to illustrate that point, let's take a look at what Jim Cramer on CNBC was saying. Interestingly, Jim Cramer still on the TV, despite the fact that analysis has shown that if you took every piece of investment advice that Jim Cramer gave, you would be have lost a lot of money. I don't remember what this figure was, but you would have lost money. You would not have made money. But some, and that's another funny thing, right? His job is ostensibly to inform and to make people money as a business TV host, as a business journalist, as somebody informing people who are buying stocks. Ostensibly, his job is to beat the stock market. And he's not performing, and yet he has only failed upwards and is no doubt making more money right now than he ever has in his career, despite proven failures. And that's another thing that we don't talk about, is the people in the media elite and the people at the top, they do not have the same performance standards that we do. If workers routinely and consistently failed to perform the duties of our job, we would be fired.
Right.
Even if we're in a union workplace, right? But not these people. Not these people. They can continue to make terrible investment decisions, make terrible investment decisions, like the CEO at Yellow, who ran his company into bankruptcy. He's going to continue to be wealthy. No doubt he's probably going to get another CEO position. But the workers at Yellow are being blamed for the bankruptcy, and in the same way, Jim Cramer is able to give terrible investment advice, put total bullshit out on the airwaves, and he is continuing to have employment. Let's listen to this.
Speed was
Just a little exaggeration.
How about the way that UPS stock initially went up on that deal?
Yes.
And then people see that maybe the Teamsters got the best of it.
Although it's a good thing for the U.S. economy that there is not going to be a UPS strike.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that was very important for the U.S. I do want to know whether Ford is going to talk about whether there's more of an issue with the UAW. Then Carol Tomei talked about being an issue with Teamsters. Very important to watch that, because when you look at the way GM traded, it started going down when Mary Barra, the CEO, glossed over the union issue. That's a big mistake. Shawn Fain reminds me of the 1930s UAW, which we don't want. Dave, we also didn't mention...
That is absolutely not true for working people. Working people absolutely want the UAW of the 1930s, because the UAW of the 1930s is the UAW that won the 8-hour workday and the 40-hour work week. Those are the UAW of the 1930s is the UAW that created so many of the standards that working people across the country take for granted. And so, but the UAW of the 1930s also took more of the value that they created from people like Jim Cramer. And that's why he's scared, and that's why he doesn't want it. Not because it's not good for the economy, not even because it's not good for business. Of course, the big three could still be productive and competitive even if they paid their workers more. And in fact, there is evidence to suggest that if you pay your workers more and you treat them better, actually they're more productive and they can do better. And you'll be even more competitive. And we saw an example of that over the pandemic with UPS. UPS, because of the significantly higher pay and compensation, was better able to retain staff over the pandemic and were better positioned to take advantage of the surge of online purchasing than other carriers like FedEx. They made significantly more profits over the pandemic than FedEx did, and that is because UPS was able to retain staff while FedEx was not. So it's not because it's not good for the economy, not because it's not good for the consumer, not because it's not good for business. It's because the UAW of the 1930s, if that attitude and that militancy and that effectiveness was brought back, it would take money out of the pockets of people like him.
Yeah, always important when they say we
right
on TV. Who's the we they're talking about?
Exactly.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
So let's, there was another clip from Jim Cramer last week. So let's take a look at that one.
I want you to compare the labor negotiations here to the ones in auto, where I think there's going to be a strike, and I think it's going to be horrible.
You're making that call
September
today?
14, I think they're going to strike. Shawn Fain, the guy who runs the UAW, I find him frightening.
And Teamsters UPS didn't give you any solace?
Teamsters turned out to be get a good deal. Teamsters historically very powerful union, rich union. But the UAW leader won. There was a very contested vote between the company, the union that wants to work with the autos together to try to preserve some jobs and give the elder people a good pay, and then this man, Shawn, who is just talking about capitalism and the nature of capitalism and how it's really hurt workers. This is very Walter Reuther language. It's the kind of language that when we had in this country, we'll take you down if you don't play ball. That's the language I'm hearing from UAW. Yep. And look, I mean, it's the kind of language where you just say, you know what, we should have built all our EVs in Mexico. It's that bad. I don't think people are paying enough attention. The man is, I'm not saying he's irrational. I'm saying he was elected in order to make it so that there's a very short week, define benefit back, and then the notion that we're fat cats. The shareholders are fat cats and have been overly rewarded. We haven't seen this. He's class warfare. And it's very shocking to hear class warfare.
I remember.
Oh, it's shocking.
Just pause it there. Yeah. I mean, that's his whole thing, his whole run up to this is just lamenting the fact that Shawn Fain is accurately reciting reality.
Yes.
He's accurate. Shawn Fain is looking at the world, making accurate observations, and relaying those observations to the membership and to the public and to the United States working class. He's making accurate assessments. And I mean, Jim Cramer didn't even, it's not even like there was even a challenge really to any of this stuff. It's just that he didn't like it. He said this notion that the shareholders are fat cats, that's class warfare. He didn't say that's wrong. He didn't say it's incorrect that they got too much. He didn't even say that it would be bad for business necessarily. It's just that people like him are gonna make a little bit less money. And for that, he said, we should have been producing these things in Mexico, where we can take advantage of low wages, terrible working conditions, and basically slaves and corrupt company unions. How do you justify that? It's because you don't have like a human-centered kind of ideology. It's because you have a profit-centered ideology. It's because you don't care about people, you care about money and the number in your bank account.
Right. Yeah. Where your soul is supposed to be is just dollar signs.
Yeah.
And it's pretty disturbing.
Jim Cramer a while ago who lamented the shift from capital to labor. I'm sorry, from labor to capital over the last 30 years.
Well, I always felt that the middle class benefited from unions. I've been a union member, twice union member, and I always felt that you could work together and everybody would do well. I never felt that we had to destroy the people that we were fighting. I was part of a J.P. Stevens, it was at one point a great textile company, stoppage, tried to block them, and they went under. And I've always regretted that I was part of that, because J.P. Stevens, we didn't want them to go under. We wanted them to, it was like Bond. Do you want me to? We just wanted them to talk. We didn't want them to die. And so I'm always very reluctant to see a union use such language that makes it feel like that it's zero sum. But I am pro-union, because the unions, in the way that Ronald Reagan was pro-union, it's like, you want people to do well. You don't want people to have no.
I am. There was a really funny tweet responding
Pro
to that.
in the way Ronald Reagan was.
Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I am pro chicken in the way that a fox is.
Right.
I am pro death row inmate in the way that an executioner is. I mean, that's just
wild.
Totally. I mean, revelatory, right?
That's wild. They let this man, not only do they let this man talk on TV,
they pay him money.
They pay him large sums of money.
They pay him money. He gets money to say this stuff.
Healthcare. I mean, come on, unions can be good, but this is toxic. It's very toxic situation.
Yeah, that's what's toxic, not the gap in productivity and wages, not the decline in living standards.
Right.
It's Shawn Fain's rhetoric. That's what's toxic. Okay. Right. Get real, dude.
Yeah. Really, really wild stuff. And so, of course, as you would expect, the Big Three is not happy about this. They're criticizing the UAW's demands as unreasonable, as unreasonable and not good and not warranted. Not warranted. And in fact, Mary Barra, in an interview, said that job security is not something you negotiate. It's something you earn.
Wow.
Yeah. She's really, really, I mean, she wants to take the workers down a peg. She thinks that the UAW members make too much right now. She would like to see a world where they make less.
And their employment is more precarious, and they have less rights in the workplace, and less security. Right. Less security for their family. Yeah.
Really wild stuff here from, the leeches at the top of society. So we're going to obviously stay on this, and looking forward to more updates. And I'm talking to people that I know in the International UAW about trying to get somebody on the show to talk about this. So we'll keep you updated, and maybe we'll have a guest on to talk about the UAW negotiations soon. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.